All right. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Nicole Madden here, and wanted to go over this winter storm that we're going to be seeing move into the southeast over the next couple of days. So we're looking at this timeline here of Friday of seeing a wintry mix and snow event across the Charlotte metro region. And this will be the first significant event here that we've seen in Charlotte in almost 3 years. Now, we are seeing some changes with the latest model trends, and I'll be going over some of that with you. And that will be changing up some of these totals that we're looking at, including the snowfall totals and where we're going to see that line here for any sort of icing event. So we're talking about that sleet and freezing rain accumulation. Now, this system is going to be bringing on that wintry weather across a widespread area, beginning in Texas and then stretching east here across the central U.S. here into the East Coast. And for us, we don't have any of those winter weather advisories or warnings or watches even yet, but we'll likely see those issued the closer we get to the event, which is going to be Friday afternoon. So the first thing that's changed here is that this low pressure system is coming in a little bit weaker, and it's not going to be drawing in quite as much moisture. It's also going to be a little bit further to the south. At least that's the way things are progressing now. So that is going to lead to some changes here. And the first of that is going to be that we will see more of a straight snow event for areas to the north of 85. Now, south of 85 is still going to be that line where we will see that wintry mix, but for all likely to start out as just a straight snow. As we move into Friday, this is coming in a little bit earlier, a little bit quicker here. By 2 o'clock, we'll start to see the snow move in from west to east. So beginning in the mountains and then stretching east through early afternoon. So as we get towards the 4 to 6 o'clock range, this will start to drop further to the east here, bringing on more of that snowfall. Later in the evening, we will start to see that transition. What you need here is that cold air in place. We have plenty of cold air, but we also need to have that moisture and that moisture along that column. What we're looking at in terms of seeing that changeover from snow to that wintry mix, we got this warmer air that's going to start to push in here into the upper layers of the atmosphere. It'll be cold at the surface. That's why we're going to see freezing rain and potentially some sleet here for areas south of Charlotte in the early evening here Friday. But really where that warmer air really gets to erode in is going to be the changeover that we'll see as we get deeper into the day Friday and into early Saturday morning. So the further that this low pressure system stays off the coast, as if it doesn't move as far inland, that's going to keep that colder air in place, and that will lead to more of that snow and a longer lasting snow event here for the Charlotte metro region. So even through 7, 8 o'clock, still seeing snow here across the Charlotte area. It's going to be later in the evening towards midnight that we start to see that change take place, and it will be a quicker transition to that freezing rain and then the cold rain that we'll see. By 7 o'clock Saturday morning, all that wintry weather will begin to clear out of the area. We will see some upslope flow here in the mountains, and that will lead to another inch or so of snowfall, maybe 2 inches here for the higher elevations through about midday Saturday before all of that snow clears out even across the higher elevations. So looking at our winter storm threats, I'm going up just a little bit higher here in terms of some of those totals for the snow in the mountains, pushing it up to 4 to 8 inches. Now, the reason for that, I know if we're talking about drier air, you would think that the snowfall totals aren't going to be quite as high, but what we really see here with that ratio is that you get more of that light, fluffier snow that stacks up a little bit faster. And because we have this cold air in place, I don't think the models are really taking that into consideration. And also that upslope flow here will add some additional snowfall. So I pushed those totals up for areas north of 85, keeping this as mainly a straight snow event for us the way things are heading right now. So 2 to 4 inches of snowfall here with the higher totals for those areas north of I-40. Now, in terms of that snow changing over to a wintry mix, that's still going to be for the Charlotte metro region. Could see 1, maybe 2 inches of snowfall for the Charlotte area, and then we could have that light glaze of ice, so about 1/10 of an inch here possible, maybe up to 2/10 of an inch, but we'll see more of that change here with the sleet snow mix early on for areas south of 85, but that will quickly transition over to that icing event here. So we'll see more freezing rain to a cold rain overnight into early Saturday. Now, talking about those snow ratios, why am I talking about the drier air and the colder temperatures? Well, really, you're going to see that change here with the moisture moisture content where you have wet snow, you're not really going to see those snowfall totals stack up as much. So when the temperature's warmer, that's where you will see with, say, an inch of rain here, or what your precipitation is, that'll lead to 5 inches of that wet snow. But the colder the temperature is, that's where you're going to see those higher totals. So if we do get that drier air and that column is able to moisten early on, likely because we are not going to see that warmer air really encroach in the higher elevations, it will be very cold, then that will lead to some of those higher totals that we're seeing. So I'm just going a little bit above here just to take that into consideration. But for the Charlotte metro area, about 1 inch to 2 inches, most of us will see some snow beginning Friday afternoon. Now, in terms of any sort of big weather delays or issues that we'll see across the area, really looking at those minor issues with some of that icing that will take place here Friday night into early Saturday, but this is going to be clearing out rather early. So we may have some minor power outages, generally looking at that in the mountains and foothills. But in terms of icing, because the moisture is lower there, we're not going to see quite as high of an impact here with significant icing across the Piedmont. Now, looking ahead here for what you can expect going into the next couple of days, this forecast will continue to get fine-tuned. Right now, we're using more of those global models, so it's not pinpointing and not picking up on certain characteristics, which is why I did push up some of those snowfall totals in the mountains. But for that expected outcome here over the next 72 hours, still looking to see the highest totals for areas across the high country. And then as we get towards the 85 stretch, still looking to see about 1 inch to 2 inches of snowfall. So that's the most likely scenario. We could see those totals even further south of 85. That's going to be more of your worst case scenario type of situation here, with those highest totals across the mountains pushing upwards of up on the higher end here of the projections above 6 to 8 inches. Now, with today, we do have something else that I just wanted to mention here for the mountains. Very cold air here. We have another upper level disturbance that's moving in, actually seeing a little bit of light snow in the mountains this morning. We are going to see those winds pick up later today, and those temperatures are going to fall quickly tonight. We're talking about wind chills 5 to even 15 degrees below zero. So dangerous wind chills here. We have a cold weather advisory that goes into effect. It's one of the new advisories here, really taking the place of those wind chill advisories. So Avery, Watauga, and Ashe counties, this goes into effect at midnight through noon here tomorrow afternoon. So you want to make sure that if you have any issues with your heat, you know someone here who maybe needs to get to a place here, a shelter. You want to make sure that you're passing along this information so everyone can stay safe, because wind chills and temperatures this cold here are very dangerous, and you increase the risk here of hypothermia. We have this cold air that's going to be sticking around even after this next big weather maker moves through here late in the week. Cold air will still expand and continue to just sit over the southeast into next week. So really the next 10 days or so, we're going to be locked in with these frigid temperatures, and it will stay well below average here through that third week of January, which is where we're at right now. But if anyone has any questions, we're going over the forecast. We have meteorologist James Scott in tonight. I'll be back here tomorrow morning, and we'll be bringing you the latest, of course, and if anything changes here, and especially with the track here of that low pressure system, that's going to really change up where we're going to see some of those totals, and if we will see any sort of change here in where that line will be with the snowfall that we'll get Friday into Saturday. But right now, if we have any questions, I could answer those. But if not, if you want to leave them there, be sure to come back through and answer them for you. And make sure you're staying weather-wise. You can download the WCCB weather app. Great tool to have. We'll be bringing you updates there. If there are any alerts issued, you'll be the first to get them as well. So good resource to have, as well as watching WCCB News at 10 and WCCB News Rising, or checking out the website, wccbtv.com/WX.